Hi, my name is Stacey Brooke, and I'm the founder and chief advisor at College Essay Advisors.
My name is Becca Myers, and I am the Director of Advising at College Essay Advisors.
And today we are going to talk to you about the Yale University school specific supplements. So, the Yale application is rather complex in that it is multi part. There are short essays and short answer questions, which are even shorter than short essays. And the good news is that this gives you a lot of opportunity to expand on your experience, tell Yale what is special about you. The bad news is that it takes a little while to fill this sucker out and to get it to do what you want it to do in terms of representing the full range of what you have to offer. But we're going to talk you through it. I think we should start with the short essays, even though the short answers are listed first, because I think those are more complex. Those are the ones that are going to pull in your deeper, more involved experiences. Anything that has weight or that requires a larger word count, you're going to put in these answers, and then we can go over the short answers. Sound good?
Love it. If you're asking
Cool.
me, yes.
I was asking you.
I'm in.
Um, yeah. Okay, so the longest essay is a choice of three. You pick one. So here are your options. You have 400 words to answer one of these three questions. The first one is reflect on a time you discussed an issue important to you with someone holding an opposing view. Why did you find the experience meaningful? The second one is reflect on your membership in a community to which you feel connected. Why is this community meaningful to you? You may define community however you like. And the third one is reflect on an element of your personal experience that you feel will enrich your college. How has it shaped you? Let's take these one at a time. So you only have to answer one of these three questions. The one that calls to you is the one you should go with. If you're not sure which one calls to you and you want to like take a stab at two of them and see which ones you like better, I've worked with students and done it that way too. In all likelihood, with all of these, if you answer them in more than one way, you're going to be able to take an answer and spin it for something else in this robust set of questions anyway, so no time is wasted here. The first question is reflect on a time you discussed an issue important to you with someone holding an opposing view. Why did you find the experience meaningful? This one actually is a little reflective of, I think it's question number 3 on the Common App, about like talk about a time you challenged a conflicting view or something along those lines. This one, I think, is one of those ones where, like, if something jumps out at you from your life experience, if something comes to you, absolutely use it. This is also favorite question of debaters, which doesn't mean necessarily that that's a good or a bad thing. But if you have a great experience about, trying to argue a viewpoint that maybe was turned on its head for you in terms of your beliefs or something like that, that's can be an interesting way to approach this. But generally, I think admissions is looking for proof that you can have civil discourse, thoughtful, intellectual, open-minded discourse with people about complex ideas.
Yeah. I think that being as specific as possible is helpful for this question. So let's say that you talked about global warming with your uncle. I think it's more impactful to maybe pick a particular element of global warming and also
Mhm.
set the scene a little bit. Like, was this one of those post Thanksgiving discussions where it never goes well? Was this like a car ride on the way to the recycling center? Like, if you can somehow differentiate yourself, because a lot of people, and this is not a bad thing, but a lot of people will gravitate towards particular topics, I think.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Abortion or global warming or maybe affirmative action. Like there are all kinds of things you could pick an issue important to you, but let's set a scene here and let's really even though it's such a small word count. I mean, 400 words is not it's not 200 words. Like it's enough that you can actually do some storytelling here. So I would
Mhm.
encourage you to do that.
It also doesn't have to be like a serious, like world shifting subject. Like I would absolutely positively write this about me trying to convince my partner that The Real Housewives is one of the most meaningful places for women over 50 to be seen on television. He thinks
Y-
he thinks Real Housewives is trash. I think Real Housewives is a fascinating look at female representation, modern female representation that doesn't exist anywhere else. Even if those women are totally ridiculous. Listen, I could talk to you about this for 17 podcasts, but the point is, it doesn't have to be global warming. It doesn't have to be, although it absolutely can be. And I think, Becca, the point you're making about isolating a highly specific conversation, a context, doing a little storytelling here, you do have the space for it. And I believe that's what admissions is looking for.
Well, because I have students sometimes that feel so compelled to be quirky in this answer. So you're lucky that that is a wonderful answer you just gave, particularly because it's attached to an issue of female representation of women over 50 in the media. If you just wanted to have a discussion about Real Housewives with your partner, that wouldn't really work because it's not an issue necessarily. But
Mm-hmm.
your answer
Mm-hmm.
is amazing and it highlights. I mean, I don't think anyone else is going to write about that, but I've had students panic and say, well, I can't write about this thing that I actually care about, like global warming, because everyone will do it. And that's when I step in
Mm-hmm.
and say, this is not the time when you have to pick the most unusual thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to find an unusual approach to the topic
Right.
that
Or
you care about.
talk about a context that's hyper personal and that proves your ability to civilly present an argument. Um,
Yes.
and I think a lot of this is about your respect for hearing out other people's viewpoints. Like, I think
Hmm.
that should be very evident in the answer, is that people don't have to agree with you in order for you to have a conversation with them. The point of going to a college campus is idea exchange. You're not talking at people, they're not talking at you. You're supposed to listen to each other. And look, like, be open to having your mind changed. Maybe other people will be open to having their minds changed. That can be part of this too. Okay, so the second question is, reflect on your membership in a community to which you feel connected. Why is this community meaningful to you? Excuse me. You may define community however you like. Classic community question. Um, we talk all the time about community being able to be defined as something pretty straightforward. Religious community, racial community, um, cultural community. It can also be, an established club, chess club or theater. It could be something much more, much looser and not quite as structured. Community of sports enthusiasts, community of, um, I don't know, people who wear socks to bed. I'm a member of that community. My feet are always
Something like
cold.
Comic Con would be interesting.
Yeah, that could be fun too, for sure. For sure. And again, the whole point of this is to expand on what admissions already knows about you. So maybe, unless you have something um to say about your motivations, um or what brings you to the community that really isn't clear from the activity description page, I would try to expand to something else that admissions doesn't know about you here. Think about community. This is where you can really start to think about subjects in unexpected ways. Um,
My answer for this now would be the dog ownership community
there we
because
go.
I have the structure of walking my dog several times a day now. And I am challenged to be more extroverted because when two dogs see each other, you often don't have a choice, and so then you have to make contact with the person walking that dog. And so it's been interesting for me to expand my social circle through having a creature pull me.
Love it. Love it. Into it.
Thank you.
Super into it.
On to the next prompt.
The third one is, reflect on an element of your personal experience that you feel will enrich your college. How has it shaped you? This super open-ended question. Again, you only have to pick one of three of these. If those first two don't suit you, this is a much more general approach. Like, what else don't we know about you that we need to know about you? Topic of your choice, almost. So what else about the life you've lived might you want people to understand about you? And how will you bring that to college? And what will that help you do with other people? And I'm going to move on from this one because this is such a general question that I actually find students have a hard time finding inspiration in it. However, in some of the shorter answer questions and some of the shorter essay questions, I think there's a little more specificity to be found. So when you have kind of all of these ideas floating around, sometimes things get moved around, kicked around, switched around in terms of where you decide to write about them or address them. So I think that one is a great catch-all for, if you find a topic that doesn't fit within the other two 400-word question spaces, you have a spot to put anything else. Next, let's do why Yale stuff, because there are two kind of shorter essays for that. The first one is tell us about a topic or idea that excites you and is related to one or more academic areas you have selected above. Why are you drawn to it? So this is found in the academic section of the Common Application under Yale. You're going to select your potential majors or areas of concentration, and that's what they're referring to when they say, tell us about academic areas you've selected above. So here you're going to be really specific about addressing these areas of study and why they appeal to you. If we read the question carefully, it says, tell us about a topic or idea that excites you and that is related to one or more of the academic areas. So this is one, again, that's looking for what's like some intellectual subject, what's a not necessarily a project you've worked on, but it can be if you wrote an entire paper on cryptocurrency, like you could talk about that topic and how it makes you want to pursue economics or makes you want to pursue public policy, whatnot. But this still has to be centered around like one topic or thought or something. Like I'll use Brene Brown's Daring Greatly yet again. But the idea of vulnerability being a strength, like maybe that is something that like inspires someone to go into the field of psychology or the social sciences. Like how do people engage with each other? Like what is our, or maybe it's gender studies, like what is toxic masculinity? How is that related to this idea of vulnerability and whether or not people can own it? I think that's the kind of connection that
But
admissions
do you
is looking for you
think,
to make here.
but I still think that I have a lot of students that want to go far back to talk about, because it's the why are you drawn to it part. Because I think it can be misread as we're on the same page. I just think it could be misread as like, why are you drawn to your major, which is not what it's asking.
It actually, I think it is, but
You
I think it
do?
is, yes, because I think it's asking that within the context of tell us about a topic or idea that excites you and is related to one or more of the academic areas you selected above. So when a student comes to us with, okay, so I made this diorama in kindergarten, I think we point them back to, we need a topic or an idea to talk about this. Like if you made a dinosaur diorama and that like was where your love of dinosaurs started, like what's in your young adulthood, was there like a um dinosaurs came from birds exhibition at the Museum of Natural History where you were like, oh my God, birds, really? Like that is wild. And does Steven Spielberg need to do all his movies again? And something that's more modern. So I think that, or at least more current. So I think like the kindergarten ideas can serve as kernels and launch points to coming up with the ultimate topic or ideas that are discussed here. But I think students just need to think about, okay, what am I if I was interested in this academic topic early in my life, what kinds of things are making me so interested in it now that I want to pursue it in college?
Right. No, that makes sense.
The question that follows that, so you have 200 words for that, which is already not that many words. So we're going to have to be succinct about whatever it is we choose there. And then, what is it about Yale that has led you to apply 125 words or fewer? So just go on. Gosh about why you want to go to Yale. You have almost no space here to do this in. So I always recommend to students find 2 or 3 things that are personally, specifically compelling to you. I don't care about how beautiful the campus is, and it's so beautiful. I don't care about how incredible generally the faculty is or the size of the classes there, because all of that's going to be incredible. You want to go to Yale. Is there a specific professor there that you're dying to study with who you know is going to be there the year that you're hoping to attend? Is there an approach to the program that's like extra experiential or extra hands-on that just doesn't exist in other programs? Is there study abroad in Bologna that aligns with your Italian studies major that is just like compelling and everything you ever wanted in a global study? Do research, like figure out what the few kernel core reasons are, and then you write it out, and then you cut.
And don't waste space on telling them things they already know about the institution
Yes.
or exaggerated praise. So you don't want to say like Yale founded in blank, 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 one of the most prestigious Ivies with
You'll
an
never get to
acceptance
the end of
rate.
that sentence in 125 words.
No, you won't. And you don't want to say like with world-renowned professors and beautiful architecture, like Stacey was saying, like if they presumably understand their campus, and so
Yes.
it has to be specific to you.
This is one of those like classic drop the page on the floor if someone else can pick it up and could say the same thing, like it could belong to somebody else. You're not even close to being specific enough. So,
Yeah.
so with this one, I would say just like if you have the luxury of visiting and you want to talk about that here, that's always amazing. Not everybody gets to do that. And, you know, maybe potentially you met a professor or met a student who had curriculum that inspired you and that felt like the kind of thing that you would want to pursue. Otherwise, research, like these websites are so robust, almost too robust. You can't even get through them. They are so chock full of information. So just like figure it out. Why do you actually want to go to Yale? I think a lot of students are frustrated by these questions, but they almost always help clarify what you actually want to do when you get to these schools. And I know a lot of people who have really and truly narrowed down their lists and figured out, okay, you know, if both of these places accept me, please God, you know, this is the place I really want to go to because of this and this and this.
Is this a place to mention legacy at all? Like if your mom went to Yale?
Yeah, I think in the context of this is what I know about this place because of this, like it has to be related to something, again, something specific that matters to you. It's not just like mom went here and I feel great about that, or like
Yeah.
I would like to be I would like to be part of the long line of blah blah blah. It has to be like because we go to Yale so much because my
Yes.
parents
Yes.
are
Yes.
remain obsessed with the campus or whatever.
Stay tuned for part 2.
That's our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you like our content, please like and subscribe to follow us for more. Happy writing!